Today I'm going to talk about saving money. I feel like so many people my age just get so stressed out and so anxious about anything to do with money, and I want to make a video about it. We've heard it before from our parents, from teachers, from everybody that it's important to save your money, but why? Retirement is impossible. It's so far away anyway, so even if I could retire, I'll just save my money when I'm making more money later on. I don't know. I don't want to buy a house. I'm never going to be able to afford one anyway. It's too stressful to think about all this stuff, and I'd rather just enjoy my money while I'm young. This is all stuff that I've heard from friends and stuff that I've probably even said myself. And I just feel like each one of these things could be solved in some way or another by learning a little bit more about how finances work and how we can save money to take away a lot of that stress. Money seems so stressful because we're not taught a whole lot about it growing up. And I was lucky that I learned some stuff, but I've read so many books of just things where I'm like, how come we didn't learn this in school? I feel like it should be common sense to just teach this to kids so that way when they grow up, they know what to do with their money and life is so much easier and less stressful, but they don't. And it's a lot more simple than it might seem because we just don't learn this stuff early on enough or in an easy to understand way enough. So there's a lot of arguments why people don't want to think about their finances or think about saving money or deal with all of that stuff, especially when they're around like my age, right? Early 20s or late teens. The biggest arguments I hear are that it's stressful. People think like, I don't want to have to deal with all these different things with my money. I already have to pay rent and my internet and my phone bill or my car payments and all these different things, and they add up and it becomes stressful and it just becomes like a lot to think about. And especially if you think about it too much, it can really give you a lot of anxiety. I know a lot of people who are my age or even older or younger or whatever who get money anxiety, and even people who are a lot older still get it. It never goes away unless you find a way to properly deal with your finances and understand what you're doing and how to properly tackle the issue. But when it comes to your money, it really is a lot easier. And once you get the groundwork laid out, the anxiety and the stress really start to go down, like 90% down. Retirement is impossible is something that I've heard so many times from people our age that it almost seems like a joke to talk about trying to plan for your retirement, especially when you're in your early 20s or early 30s. What's the point of saving money? Like the planet's gonna be destroyed by climate crisis or property values are forever gonna skyrocket or whatever. And so it's just gonna be impossible to save enough money for whatever the goal is. And I know it seems like a lot of money, like how much money do I need to retire or how much money do I need to buy a condo? It just seems like it's way out of reach, but it really isn't. And if you break it down into simpler steps, it becomes a lot easier to understand where the goal is and how you get there. That's another reason I'm making this video, where it's like, it doesn't have to be so stressful or so unknown. Once you kind of figure out the steps, it's a lot easier. And that's another reason you should start thinking about your finances and saving money when you're young. Another argument I hear all the time is, I have plenty of time to save money. Why should I start now? Now, there's plenty of reasons why the earlier you start, the better, such as compound interest. The earlier you start saving money, the more it'll be worth down the road. Even if you've got lots of time, or you might think like, I only make $15 an hour now, when I'm making $30 an hour, when I'm making 100 grand in the future, that's when I'll be saving my money. But right now I barely make any money. What's the point in trying to save it? Later on I'll make more money. Well, unfortunately, it's not guaranteed that we're gonna make more money in the future. And you can continue to save money in the future even if you start saving now. So that argument doesn't really stop you from saving money now or starting to think about your finances now. You can still think about that stuff now and do it later. But starting now is not gonna hurt you in any way. It's only gonna help your journey. Even if you start to make tons of money later and you're not making a lot of money now, it's still worth it to start now. Once you get an understanding of what you're doing and where you're going, it becomes so much easier. And I know a lot of people also have this mentality where they want to enjoy their money while they're young. That's the one I hear the absolute most. I'm 24. Why should I be thinking about retirement when I want to enjoy my money while I'm young? There's so many things in life that I want to do, and I don't want to be worried about retirement. If I want to do them, I want to go on trips, I want to do this, I want to do that. You can enjoy your money while you're young, for sure, but there's a smart way and a responsible way to not only prepare yourself for the future and enjoy your time now. And I agree, it's important to enjoy yourself when you're young, and I try to enjoy myself as much as I can, but I have an interesting thought experiment that I think is worth exploring to try and understand why you might not need to spend a lot of money to enjoy yourself when you're young. Think about the happiest moment you've had in the past week. All right? I put this question on my Instagram as well, and I got a whole bunch of responses. And now think, how much did that moment cost? I put this question on my Instagram, and the kind of responses I got, every single one was a free thing to do. I had friends that were saying that they really enjoyed finally getting to go on hikes now. The weather's getting a bit nicer. One friend that said enjoying the sunsets at night now that we finish work and it's not dark immediately. It's like, it's nice to see the sun set instead of it setting while we're at our office. One person said they're getting into running. Physical activity is free for the most part, and it can be really rewarding. For me, I've been playing tennis with my friends after work, a few nights this week. Easy highlight of my week and completely free. We grabbed some old rackets that we've had since we were in elementary school, and we're playing with old balls we found in the garage, and we're playing at a free court. It's all free, best time. And the reason is because most of the things that make us happy at any age are our connections with our friends, our family, and doing things that are challenging and rewarding. It's not coming from spending money. So it seems like for a lot of people, there's this illusion that you need to spend your money to have fun, or at least that it's stressful trying not to spend money to have fun. But most of the happiest things we do in our life don't require that much money. Now, everything requires a little bit of money. Even the tennis that I was playing with my friends, we were lucky enough to have the rackets, have the balls, and have a free court near us. And I'm not saying you should get into tennis, but just the idea that not everything that brings us joy costs money, and in fact, the things that bring us the most joy probably don't cost that much money at all. I 100% recognize that spending money can bring you happiness. 100%, of course. Money can do so many things for us. And that's one of the reasons I think it's so important to save it. But I also think that it's really easy to fall into a habit of convenience or little luxuries that don't really increase our happiness in life, but they're just automatic behaviors or habits that we've picked up. And you can live a happier and richer life by taking a little more focus on your finances and saving your money and prioritizing what you spend your money on instead of just spending it habitually, which is sort of what everyone does. I do it, you do it, everybody does it. Spend money without thinking about it sometimes. And that can lead to more stress than fun, even if it seems the other way around in the moment. But back to the main question, why should I really focus on saving money right now when, let's say, retirement is literally 40, 50 years away? Number one, it doesn't have to be that far away. Although most people retire when they're in their 60s, give or take, if you start focusing on how to manage your money now and how to save money now and prioritizing your spending, you can bring that way down. Some people are stressed in their 60s trying to figure out how they're going to retire, but you can bring that down to your 50s and not stressed, or you can bring that down to your 40s. Some people even go really dedicated and they're retiring in their mid to late 30s. This stuff is possible, even if it seems like it's really hard. And I'm not saying it's possible for everybody. We're all born into different situations. I know that I've grown up in a very lucky environment that makes some of this stuff possible, but a lot of people could be doing a lot better, and it's not saying it's your fault. We just don't learn these things when we're growing up. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, is it's just there's so much stress and anxiety about these things that we aren't taught about, and life could be a lot easier if you just put into practice some of these things and take a little more mindfulness when it comes to our finances and saving money. And it does seem crazy that we have to worry about our retirement now, but like it or not, no matter how much we enjoy our jobs, one day we won't be able to do those jobs anymore and we will have to retire. So we do have to start planning for those things. And the earlier that we plan for them, the less stressed and less anxious we'll be when the time comes. And I'm sure if you ask any person in that age what they wish they would have done differently when it comes to planning for their retirement, and it's just start earlier. Start a little bit earlier. But let's just say you don't want to save that money for retirement, because this whole thing doesn't have to be all about retirement, Eventually, most people want to buy a house or buy a nice car or go on a big trip. Being able to manage your finances and prioritize your spending can also make all those things less stressful and less anxious. Not having to worry about where you're going to get the money to afford to go on vacation with your friends or family, or pay for your wedding, or pay for your first house. All these different things become so much easier and less anxious once you've kind of gotten the first step out of the way, which is just understanding how to manage your finances and your savings. Now, if you decide this whole thing is whack, it's ridiculous, in 10 years, you're 30 years old or whatever, and you're like, I can't believe I saved all this money. Why didn't I use it for something fun? Well, you still can. In 10 years from now, if you're paying more attention to your finances and your savings, you'll be in a better off position than if you didn't, regardless of what you do with that money in 10 years. If in 10 years you've got $100,000 saved and you're like, screw it, I don't feel like dealing with retirement, I don't want to buy a house, I want to buy a Lamborghini. Go ahead, I don't care. The thing is, you focused on your finances and now you're able to do that because you've saved so much more money having been more aware of your finances and prioritize your spending. So even though most people would probably say it's smarter to focus on your retirement or on a house one day, being smarter and prioritizing your spending can make you happier even if you love spending still. The number one reason, though, over everything else, that you should start focusing on your finances, your saving, and you're prioritizing your spending now at a younger age is because it just makes life less stressful and less anxious. And there's already enough things in our life that are stressful and give us anxiety. Why not take out one of the biggest ones and just pay a little more attention to our finances and our savings? It really will make life so much easier. I know this stuff seems stressful, it doesn't seem fun, but it's one of those things where it takes a little bit of work to remove so much stress and anxiety. And so it's really worth it to start caring right now, because you're going to save yourself decades of potential stress the earlier that you get involved with your finances and understanding how you can save money in a productive way and prioritize your spending to have a happier and richer life now. This sounds like some kind of infomercial. I'm like trying to sell you anything. There's nothing for sale. This is just, I want people my age to be smart with their money, because you can actually just relieve so much stress from yourself and it makes life better. I'm done with my sales pitch. I hope at this point in the video that I've convinced you to some degree that it's worth taking a look at your finances, understanding where you're at and how you can make some goals to progress further. Now what? I've convinced you. Now what do I do? The first step in prioritizing your finances and saving money is, one, just understanding your situation, evaluating what's going on, learning your income, your expenses, your goals, all of this stuff, and then making a plan. Now, I've talked about so many different things in this video and touched on so many different topics that I would love to make more videos about, going into more depth with tips and advice and things I've learned from books or videos and whatever. But if there's one takeaway from this video, it's that obviously, I've said it a million times that we should prioritize our spending and our saving and our finances at a younger age, but it's this. There are so many things in our life that make us happy that don't cost anything. The people in our lives and the things we can do with those people. If we focus on that, you're already better off when it comes to your finances, because you're enjoying those things that don't cost any money and truly make your life better. So if there's one thing from this video to take, it's that. Anyway, that's it. Please like the video and subscribe so I don't feel like I'm talking to nobody. And I would love to make more videos like this, because I really want people my age to take their finances just a little more seriously, because life is a lot more stress-free and a lot easier once you've got one of the most stressful parts of your life a little more under control. That's all. Oh my gosh.